Let me tell you a story that's going to stick in your head. The next time you see someone who doesn't quite fit the room, maybe it's a little funny, maybe a little sad, maybe it'll hit you somewhere you didn't expect. The morning Emily Carter walked into that glassy, high-rise office in Manhattan, you could feel the temperature drop a couple degrees. There she was, camo jacket faded at the elbows, backpack practically unraveling at the seams, sneakers so beat up you wondered if they'd seen more miles than your car. I mean, you should have seen the looks. Jenna, the receptionist, barely glanced up, muttered name like she was allergic to syllables, and pointed Emily to a chair in the corner. The whole floor, all perfume and polished chrome, pulsed with chatter about quarterly targets and brand alignment. But you could hear Tara's voice slice through. Survival camp drop-off? She must think this is an army base. And Josh, never one to let a joke die, added, "We got dress code for a reason, right?" Emily didn't rise to it. She just sat quiet, steady, looking out the window like she'd been through far worse than morning gossip. She was 22, brown hair falling in waves, brown eyes that seemed to see everything, and she watched that office like she was casing the joint for an escape route. You know what I mean? It's funny, people always talk the loudest when they're the most unsure. Derek from accounts, gel in his hair and loafers worth a week's groceries, walked by and whistled. "You missed the memo, or you just like standing out?" Emily just said, "I'm here to work," barely above a whisper, but there was steel underneath. You want to know the moment everything changed? By noon, the whole building shook, literally rotor blades overhead, a Black Hawk helicopter coming in hot on the roof. Phones out, jaws open. The guy in tactical gear stepped out and called, "Lieutenant Carter, mission flag status." That's when the room went from mocking to stunned, real quick. Emily, the so-called oddball intern, straightened up, her voice sharp as glass. "Active, sir." And in that instant, it's like her whole past slid into the light. Youngest tactical commander, Black Hawk 7 Alpha, battlefield evacuations. They started pulling up old news footage. Emily at 19 in combat gear, giving orders under fire. No one in that office could look at her the same after that. But let me back up a sec, because the magic was in the details. Before anyone knew her name, Emily was grinding through the grunt work inventory, supply chain audits, coffee runs, you name it. The supply room was her bunker, just her, a clipboard, and the steady hum of fluorescent lights. Every so often, she'd glance at a battered photo tucked in her bogus squad of soldiers, all dust and grins. When the fire alarm wailed for the third time that week, everyone just groaned. Kyle from IT moaned about the relay, but Emily? She walked over, popped the panel open, and reset it with the back of a pen, smooth as you like. "Military training," she said, and went back to counting pens while people gawked. She made it look easy, and somehow that made them more uneasy. You ever notice how people turn cruelty into a group activity? The interns in the break room, decked out like a walking Instagram feed, tried to roast Emily for her camo. You going hunting, or just looking to snipe someone who reject your draft? She chewed her sandwich slow, not a word wasted, and let their laughter bounce off her like she was bulletproof. There's something powerful about silence when everyone else is screaming for attention. And then came the twist, one of those moments that makes you question who's really in control. Marketing had a drone, and no one to fly it, deadline looming. Emily, who'd been the punchline all week, synced her phone, piloted that thing like a pro, and shot the kind of footage Lisa, the creative director, would have paid a small fortune for. When asked where she learned it, Emily just shrugged. Extraction mission. Suddenly, the laughter got a little thinner. Later, the design team, Lauren, Claire, Mile have streamed a prank, digging through Emily's backpack, waving around a tattered map, cracking jokes for their followers. That's when Mike, the janitor, noticed the grid line. Something about it rang military. He didn't say a word, but when Harold from finance, a Vietnam vet with a limp and a stare that could peel paint, saw that same map, his whole face changed. "Where'd you get this RF Fox Delta grid?" he growled. "I marked every evac point on it," Emily replied, and the room went dead. In that moment, the office felt less like a playground and more like a stage where the actors had forgotten their lines. By midweek, the rumor spun out. Emily was dismissed at meetings, her logistics report brushed aside. Greg, the boss, smirked, told her to get coffee. Someone snapped a photo of her walking away Camo, messy hair, backpack, and posted it with a joke caption, "Rebel Warehouse Guard." The comments were brutal, but Emily never saw them. Downstairs, Sam the barista noticed her calm, asked, "You don't seem like the corporate type." Emily looked him in the eye, said, "I'm not, just passing through," and left it at that. Then the real storm hit. A weird tone from a speaker's barely, a blip sent Emily bolt upright. "That's an Alpha Bravo call," she said, and the office burst out laughing again, but Emily was already sprinting for the stairs. Tony, security, ex-military himself, caught the look in her eyes and followed her up. They hit the roof just as the Blackhawk landed, and it was like a movie scene. Emily stepping in her old self. The office below glued to their screens as the story broke. That's when the tide turned. Amanda from HR found the DoD bulletin, the battlefield photos, and suddenly nobody could joke about the intern anymore. Emily, the woman they tried to box in, was the real deal, and their world got a little smaller in the shadow of what she'd survived. Greg was out by sunset, fired after his meme about Rebel Warehouse Guard went viral and tanked the company's rep. Vanessa lost her book deal. The Soldier for a Day video vanished after public outcry, and the ones who laughed loudest found themselves on the outside looking in. Funny thing is, Emily never gloated. She climbed into that chopper, didn't wave, didn't so much as look back. And in her absence, the whole place got quieter, the office gossip a little duller, the air heavier with what people hadn't said. Mike, the janitor, summed it up best, mopping the break room floor as Tara and Josh whispered about going viral. "Jokes like that cost people their dignity," he said, and it landed like a brick. Nobody forgot it. You ever get judged for what you wear, the way you walk, the story people think they see when they look at you? Emily Carter lived that every single day, and she never bent. She didn't need their approval. Her story blew up, not because she sought revenge, but because she stood in her own truth, quiet, steady, unbreakable. In the end, when the truth dropped, it wasn't fireworks. It was just so real it stung. So, tell me, where you watching from? Drop a comment below. Was what happened to Emily right? Or was it just another lesson this world keeps handing out? Let's talk about what real justice looks like, and who gets to decide.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình, là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video.
It is cold, yeah. Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, they're... Use the fence.